Rakatha Yahweh, Rakatha Yahweh Shai. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash. The Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh. His Son's name is Yahweh Shai. The Rakah HaKodash is the Holy Spirit. That's what comforts and guides us in all understanding. I want to say peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Double honors to our elders and apostles who came back in the reincarnation, known as Great Millstone in the English and the Hebrew. That would be Gawala, meaning great, and Rakab, meaning stone. All right, so Shalom means peace, Baraki means blessing. Of course, to the elect of Israel, the La Bakayarim, Yashar Allah, which means elect of Israel. Just going to do a Hebrew lesson here. Been wanting to do Psalm 79 and 9 for a while, so I think what I'm going to just start doing in verses that I just want to translate, I'm just going to entitle a Hebrew lesson, and I'll put a date. Or if there's something specific about the lesson, I'll put a semicolon in what I'll be going into. But I'm just going to start putting Hebrew lessons in the date just to go into some things, some questions I've been seeing. And I figure if I just go over some basic scriptures, some of these questions can get answered. So I'm just going to do a quick Hebrew lesson here on Psalm 79 and 9. Nothing specific, just translating the verse. It's a good precept that can be translated here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is Psalms 79 and verse 9. It says, "Help us, O God." I'm going to read it verbatim. "Help us, O God of our salvation, for the Lord, for the glory of thy name, and deliver us and purge away our sins for thy name's sake." Now, what I have here, you can see I have the screen split. And this is how you want to go into translating this. All right, so you see I have the Assyrian with the pronunciation above it over here on the right. Okay, with the pronunciations above it. So you want to go letter for letter and piece it together. I'm gonna say the whole Salakia. I'm gonna say the whole precept in Hebrew. Then we'll go through it real quick. All right, or the Lashwan Kodash, which means the holy tongue. So it's Izar. We have Izar, Noah, Alahaya, Yeshai, Noah, Yeshai, Noah, Al, Dabar, Kabad, Shemka, Wa Hatazayalnia, Wa Kapar, Al Hataath, Yanoah, Lama'ain, Shemka. All right, let's go over the first word, which is Izar, Noah. How do we know that this is Izar, Noah? All right, over here, you can see the eye looks slightly different, but this is an eye. All right, this is an eye. This right here, it looks like the T with the slant at the top. That's going to be Za. All right, that's Za. This right here, backwards, it looks like a backwards R. All right, backwards R with this at the top. That's actually a Ra. Okay, this is a Ra. Same letter. So far we have I, Za, and Ra. Now this is the Hebrew character Na. All right, and it's going to take you some time if you haven't seen Hebrew before to find some of these. Take your time going through and see which one looks exactly the same. And that's this one. And also these that are on the bottom, the ones that are on the bottom means that you will see this Assyrian letter Na like this on the end of a word. When you see Na on the end of a word, it's going to look like this. Let's look up an example real quick. Let me see if I can find an example. I'm going to look up Jeshurun. Maybe Jeshurun will come up. I spelled it right. Let's see. Jesh. Jeshurun. All right. The Jeshurun wax fat. Let's see. let's look up that and see, because I believe there's a na on the end of it. I'm looking up a name, not necessarily looking up a Yesharwan. All right, so here we go. Scripture says, "But Yesharwan wax fat." So I'm assuming that here in the verse, you have why Yasham why Yashaman, yeah, why Yashaman, which means and he fat, which means fatness or oil. All right, Shaman also means oil. There's another good example through the Spirit. There's these two verses actually. These first two words, I mean, in this verse. All right, you have Yasharwan, and see you can see the Hebrew character Na on the end. Looks like the one that's on the bottom again because Na is appearing on the end of a word. This is in Assyrian, all right, and the Lashwan Kodash that never changes. All right, you also have that here. You can see this is what Na looks like. So if you want to take it from Assyrian and translate it to the Lashwan Kodash for Psalm 79 and 9, well, the first one, again, we had I. So you have your I, you write your I, and then you have Ra. All right, this is the ancient Ra. And now we know that this right after here is Na, but it's not the Na on the end like in Deuteronomy. And this, you should write this in your notes, not like in Deuteronomy 32 and 15, or just remember the word Yeshurun or Jeshurun. I always use this as an example, all right? Because when you look it up, it's Yesharwan, all right? And the Na on the end here, it looks different. But again, in Hebrew, it's always going to be in the Lashwan Kodash, the ancient tongue. It's always going to look like this. All right, so let's go. Let's go back to Psalm 79 and 9. I'll keep this tab open for some more examples through the Spirit. The last Hebrew character there we're looking at. All right, you want to open up your Assyrian alphabet and go through, and you're going to find the one that's straight up, and it just has a little bit to the side like this. All right, it's not over top like cross like here. All right, and you can see this Hebrew character is also here in the beginning of this word. It's another thing you could do. How many of them look alike? You know that game when you got to match the cards from memory. You know which ones look alike. When you go through this verse, you want to see how many of them can you find. All right, how many of one letter is in here? You seeing a lot of I's in here. This one's in here. This one says I. This says I. This has I. All right. It really start with ah. Go through all the letters. You see, if you have a Hebrew alphabet, and you see that this character right here, which is ah in Assyrian, go through here and see how many ahs do you see. Boom. Here's your first one, and we're actually on the second word, so we'll just stay here. So now, if you want to go in alphabetical order and then go back and read the verse, you can do that as well. But let's just stick with this word here. All right, see, we found the Hebrew character ah. So now we know that this word here starts with ah. And if you read a lot, you understand that if you go back into the English, it's always important to read the English first before trying to understand the Hebrew. So that way you remember what word that you know in English should be coming up in Hebrew. So when you see, oh God, all right, we know that God in the singular form is Allah. Just like when you read in Genesis 1 and 1, it says God created the heaven and earth. You know that's Allahayim. All right, it's Allahayim. So Allah, Azar Noah, Allahayim, which means help us, oh God. Now, before we move on, in this first word here, Azar Noah, the root word is Azar, and the suffix here, Noah, means us. All right, so let's scroll down just so you can see that in the list. All right, and it shows you the root and the plural for each of these, like I was speaking of. So for help us, the root there is Izar. And you can see in their language, in the Yiddish, I believe this is, then they say Azar, which sounds very similar to Izar. Let's keep going through these words. Yeshai Nawa, which means save us. Salakia. Alahaya means oh God or oh my God. All right, you see here, oh God. The Yah on the end means my, or it can mean oh or of. Like if you were to put Yah on the end of Yahweh, which means Judah, that means that you are of Judah. It doesn't say, it wouldn't mean my Judah. All right. And just like here, when the Yah is on the end, it means oh God. All right, instead of my God in the English. And sometimes when you do see my God, you also will see again Allahaya. Next is Yeshaya. All right, like the beginning of Isaiah's name. That's another good example we could use. Yeshai means to save, and then again on the end is Noah. And again, for these letters, I'm not going to go through everyone because it'll take a long time, but that's what you would do. All right, continue going one by one. This next word is, this is Yah. All right, let's look this one up real quick. It's the 10th letter of the alphabet. Yah, it just floats, and then you have Shah, which is the second to last letter. Then you have I again. You have I, and then Nawa, which means us. So Yeshai Nawa. Now, a lot of you also, you may be asking, I get these questions all the time over the years. How do I know where the connectors are? Well, I say it's through the spirit, and then also you can, there's certain books out there too, written in the Lashon Kodash that have the connectors. I don't use those books, but because I've been reading Hebrew, understanding it for quite some time now, you kind of know where the connectors are. And when you hear me say it, you can write them in there. So you have Yeshai, which you have Yeshai Noah. So the Shah and the I are connected. Yeshai, it's not Yasha I Noah. It's Yeshai Noah. All right. Next is Al Dabar. Now, this is what I love about the Hebrew when looking up the Hebrew. Generally, Dabar means, right here, it means upon words. All right. Al Dabar means upon word. In the verse, you don't see that. All right. You don't see that upon word. Now, when we scroll down here in the list, let me see what it's going to say. You see, it says for and then more info. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm going to pull up the Hebrew interlinear. Remember, this is the Hebrew lesson. Sometimes you have to go to your other books, your other stuff. Oh, this is Juneteenth stuff. what a horrible holiday to have in place. The very last ones to find out you're slaves. Oh, it's going to be too late. A lot of you going to be too late for you to when you finally find out that you're still a slave and that you're an Israelite, and you should have been calling on Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and repenting and having faith. But instead, you want to celebrate these holidays. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua has our holidays written down in Leviticus 23. This is Psalm 79 and verse 9. You see here, we have Izar Noah, Elohim, Yeshai Noah, and then we have Al Dabar. See, this side is written from left to right. And in here it says on matter of, all right, which means on upon the words of. So what is it upon the words of? That's what it's literally saying in here. O power, our salvation on the words of should be right in here in the English. But the king did it. He had the translators do it according to the Hebrew as best as they could. All right, you know what it says in Sirach, the prelude to Sirach. So you say Al Dabar again. This is the Hebrew character I. This is the Hebrew character La. See here you have La. Dabar, that's the Hebrew character Da, not to be confused with Ra. All right, or Ka finisher. All right. And then you have the Hebrew character Ra. So you see the difference between Da and Ra. All right, just like on here, the difference between Da and Ra. All right, it's more round on Ra. Remember, for Ra, it should be round. All right. For Da, it should be have more of a degree, more defined here. Next is Kabad Shamka, which means the glory of thy name. Kabad means glory. Shamka is thy name. Now you can see a Ka finisher. Let's start with Kabad. This is the Hebrew character Ka, K like Ka. not to be confused with CHAA. Cha. This is ka when it's on in the middle of a word. This is ka when it's on the end. So when ka is on the end, it looks like da, but it's longer. All right, it's longer. And when it's on the end of a word, the suffix of a word, it means thy or your, belonging to someone else. So what's belonging to someone else? The glory. All right, remember the glory goes to the Lord's name, which is Yahweh and Yahweh and the mediator who the world calls Jesus Christ. So you have ka, not to be confused with ba. All right, so ka, when it's in the middle of a word, looks similar to ba, the Hebrew character ba. All right, now ba, it kind of looks like a ra sitting top of a line. All right. Again, the more that you read, the more you can kind of spot the differences, because here, just in glory alone, is a good example of those two and how they should look different. Psalm 79 and 9. So kabad, we have ka, ba, and then a wa, and then a da. Right, and the connector is between the ba and between the wa and the da. So you have kabad. All right, you have kabad. All right, or sorry, between the ba and the wa, you would spell it KABAWD. Connector, connector, kabad. Shamka, connector between the Sha and the Ma. All right, Sham, not Shamaka. All right, or Shamak. It's Shamka. All right, thy name. Next is Wa, Haz, Ha, Taza, Ya, La, Na, and Wa. All right, the first Hebrew character again, you're going to go through your alphabet. It's going to be Wa. The next one is going to be Ha, which uh, looks like Da, but just with the tiny part here. And then this is Taza. This is two ways that you'll see Taza. When it's on the end of a word, again, the ones on the bottom, this is what it's going to look like. Except Taza, when it's on the end of a word, does not change the word like some other Hebrew characters do. When Taza is on the end as a suffix, it's part of the word. It's either stands alone or it's connected. All right. Now this is Taza when it's in the middle, and you have Ya, Allah, and then Nawa again. So now you know every time you see Nawa, when you're looking in the text, if you keep seeing Nawa on the end of words, you know that it's saying our. So you know you're close, you're in range of a word that you should be able to understand now. So you have us there, you have our here, and then you also have our here. And when you look in the verse, I'm sorry, and you have us here. You look in the verse, and that was 4 times. You see it here, Nawa 1, Nawa 2, Nawa 3, and Nawa 4. So those words with the suffix that all have Nawa on them they should say help, they should say salvation, they should say deliver, and it should say sins. All right, so now we're on the third one, which is deliver us. Wa ha tazayal naya. Wa ha taza, connector between the ya and the la, and then nawa. Wa ha taza yal nawa, which means and deliver us. Wa before a word means and. Ha taza yal is the root there, which means deliver, and nawa means us. All right, and not tazal. You'll see it is, this is how you're always going to see in the scriptures. Ha taza yal naya. It's a word that, another word of saying deliver. It's frequent in the Psalms. Next is Wa Kapar, which means and purge, just like the Yawam Kapar, which means to atone, which means Day of Atonement. So Wa Kapar, and you can see here this Hebrew character you see in the middle here, Wa, Ka, Pa, and Ra. There's a connector between the Pa and the Ra. That's this character right here in the Assyrian. Again, make sure you have your alphabet with you, or it's going to be kind of hard to follow or understand if you don't necessarily already know it. So Wa means and then Kapar, Scroll down in the list and remember what the verse says, because we just finished and deliver us. So now we're at and what? And purge. So that means kapar means purge. Let's go down and make sure the root word, you see, purge away, is kapar. See, that's why I don't like blue letter or it's, I mean, the Yiddish. All right, because some words, look, it's straight up written in the Lashwan Kodash, but then they'll say that our language doesn't exist. But because the Masoretes, they added in all these little vowel points, all right, these things on the bottom. Now, just because these have lines on top, it's completely different. It's the same word, man. And you can see that Blue Letter also gives you an indicator of how they have it written, that their pronunciations also gives you an indicator of where the connectors should be. So again, when we look in the verse, see, they have it kapar, they don't have it kapara. All right, here it's nazal, they don't have it natazala, or it doesn't say nasala. So you know the connectors between the tazah and the la, and the pa and the ra here. All right, just trying to squeeze all this information I know to extract it and put it into this lesson. Hopefully this is edifying to. I don't know if anyone's viewing. I can't really see. I'm on one screen. But Barak Yahweh Bashim Shai for allowing me to do this. Shalom to everyone on the comment board and who's catching this live. Let's continue on. So we had and purge, which is Awa Kapar. Then you have Al, which means upon, and then Ha Ta'ath Yanawa. This is the Hebrew character Ha coming through here. All right, it looks like Ha. All right, but it's connected here at the top, not to be confused with Ha over here. And then you have the Hebrew character Ta. It looks like a U almost, which is the 9th letter of the alphabet. See, these are the same. These are the ways that you're going to see these letters. All right, it's the Assyrian. This is how Ta looks again in the Lashwan. If you want to translate it over, you're going to need these two sheets. This is what Ta looks like. Looks like a wheel. Okay. And then you have the Hebrew character and this is Tha, not to be confused again with Ha or Ha. CHAA and AHA. This is THA. Tha, the last letter. As you can see, it looks like Ha, but it's got a boot. All right, this is in the Assyrian. All right, and of course we know what that looks like in the Lashwan. It's just the T. Oh snap, my battery getting low. Let me wrap this up. All right. So al Ta'ath, connector between the and the tha. Yanaw, which means and our sins. And then you have la ma'ain, which means to the sake of. La ma'ain, again, there's that na on the end. That's a finisher. Let me hurry up. I don't want this to kill out on y'all. All right, na finisher. See, la ma'ain, which means for the sake of. And then again, you have shamka on the ka on the end. Looks like a da, but that's actually a ka because it's longer on the bottom. You see that? This is a da, this is a ka. So shamka, la ma'ain, which means to the sake of. And I can show you that here. Let's see. To the sake of. Yeah. La ma'ain. See, la ma'ain means on account of or for the sake of. All right, so that's Psalm 79 and 9. Izar Noah, Alahaya, Yeshai Noah, Al Dabar, Kabad Shemka, Waha Tazayal Noah, Wa Kapar, Al Ha Ta'ath Yanawa, Lama'an Shemka. All right, Barakatha Yahal Bashim Shai. Shalom to elect double honors to our elders and apostles, a great millstone. Abaratazah do another lesson soon. Okay, Shalom.